Hello, everyone. Welcome to Aliya Productions. My name is Sufiya Naqvi, and today we have the wonderfully amazing, talented photographer from London. Please welcome Mona Naem, everyone. Thank you, Mona,
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for your time, and assalamu alaikum. Um, so for everyone who doesn't know, I met Mona in London at a wedding reception, and I saw your skills. Like I know that you know what you're doing. Like how long have you been in the photography industry for?
I think professionally, I think probably around about sort of years or so.
Yeah.
So I started off very differently. So I've kind of progressed on to sort of different areas of photography.
What are
So,
those different areas?
so it started off with portraits because how it all started was basically I had my kids, and gives you an SLR camera, and then you just end up taking like about 1,000 photos of them.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I always had an interest in photography, so I did do arts and photography GCSE, but I never pursued it. I went into the academics of the maths and the geography side of things, and then I became a teacher. But then, so yeah, so I'm actually a teacher by profession. And then when I was given the SLR camera after my daughter was born, I just started taking thousands and thousands of photos. And then someone asked a question like, what would be your dream job? And photography was my dream job, to be a photographer. And that's how it kind of started. So I started off with portraits, so doing like family portraits, and then I kind of moved on to sort of doing more like headshots, corporate stuff, events, and then now moving on to weddings. And also, yeah, I forgot to say, I also teach photography as well. So I teach
Oh my
photography
goodness, that is amazing.
children
Yeah, do you
as well as
do
adults as well.
yeah. Do you do these lessons online, in person? What is your teaching schedule? What does everything look like?
So it is face to face, because I think online, I don't think you can get. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people who do it online. They do the online courses, and I think that's good for someone who is motivated. So someone who really wants to learn a skill, they will take the time to look at an online, courses, and just go through the exercises. But I think one to one or face to face, definitely, the encouragement, the joy, I get when I teach, and then I see the results. And then also I find, people do find it like they will be in a situation where they say, "Oh, hang on a second, why is this happening to my camera?" And then I will explain like, "Oh, look, the light's not right, or blah blah blah, your
Yeah,
aperture is too low, or whatever." So, and then they kind of like, "Oh yeah, great." And I think that is much more important. So
right.
no, I definitely like to do it face to face.
Yeah, no, do you think it's like more engaging to have that in-person interaction? And is that something that you also like to include in your photography experiences, that kind of in-person, one-on-one experience with your clients?
Absolutely, because even so, I do offer like 4-week courses to adults in particular. And they will throw a scenario at me, and they'll say, "Oh, well, what about this?" And then I'll say, "Oh, actually, yes, I went on holiday and this happened, and so such and such, and this is what you could do to avoid it." And so for example, people say to me like, "Oh, like we're going to Greece this summer, and it's like so hot, but my photos are always fully like, oh, overexposed. What can I do?" Or, I want to take a photo of my daughter in the sunset. What can I do? So I'll give them pointers, so you'll say, "Look, here's an example I can show you where,
Yeah.
I've done this, or I've faced this way." So definitely I think my experience and stuff comes in handy when people throw, curveballs at you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And maybe have there been any challenges that you have faced? Because I just imagine, I just wanted to say personally, I mean, as you are a Muslim hijabi photographer, I think that is amazing. I mean, there, I I don't know if there are any challenges, but if you want to share some, I mean, because for some of your female clients, I don't know if this is true, but I imagine they would feel more comfortable having a Muslim hijabi photographer who'd be more family oriented. So please just give us a bit of a take on your experiences as a whole. What's something that you've learned from it all?
I think being a mother really helps. So, how you engage with children for sure, having that teaching experience as well. When you've got kids who have had it. So when you're doing a photo shoot and the parents are telling them off and they're like, oh, just do another smile, just do, and
Yeah.
you can read the children. So how I organize my photo shoot when I do a family shoot, if there's a toddler, I know, in the beginning the toddler's going to be a bit shy. Then, once they're warming up, that's, when you're going to try and do as much
Yeah.
like photos and engagement with them. And then once they're lost, then okay, fine. Now we can focus on the adults, we can do the couples, or we can do the grandparents shots. So definitely experience helps. Being a woman helps. I mean, I've been lucky in that sense that I haven't faced any I don't know, difficulties or anything.
That's
I
good.
say that, inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah, it stays that way.
Yeah.
It stays that way. I mean, no, I think, I'm very open. And whenever I do a family shoot, especially when I do a wedding shoot, I always speak to the clients if I don't see them.
Yeah.
So they know exactly who they're dealing with, because I don't want to have surprises. So
Yeah.
I've actually photographed bar mitzvahs, and one of the bar mitzvahs I did, it was before I was wearing a scarf.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was a little bit nervous because this client, they booked me for the second time. Like, so obviously they booked me for their daughter first, and then they booked me
All
for their
right.
son. And I was a little bit apprehensive, but I was like a little bit nervous. I was like hoping, like, I hope they're on Instagram and then they've seen that I've started wearing the scarf. But I do this thing where obviously I meet up with them before the actual event.
Yeah.
And I went to and they were just absolutely lovely. So,
Aw.
it didn't phase them. And I was there and, in a room predominantly, all, of Jewish heritage and stuff, and they were all so lovely and welcoming. So I've never faced any sort of, anything
Great.
really, any negative vibes from anyone. So,
Yeah.
alhamdulillah, I have to say
Alhamdulillah.
it's a wonderful experience so
Yeah.
far. So I think, I think you have to be very open, and you need to take that initial step of speaking to them.
Yeah.
So, if you don't feel, I've never had it, like, where I've done a consultation with someone and they said, oh, look, I don't think you're the right person. Because I think I'm very obvious. So when they do book me, I think they know, okay, well, this is the person we want to photograph us.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you think that the photographer's identity really matters? I mean, it's just about taking good photos. Do you think that yeah, what do you think about this kind of thought?
I mean, I think it does. Well, how shall I say this? I think, there's millions of photographers out here, and there's millions of good photographers, and obviously millions of bad photographers as well. So you're in that market where you're kind of competing with each other. So I think, if you can connect with your clients, I think certainly that favors you. So
Yeah.
I do think, as much as I'd like to say, oh, no, it doesn't matter, it's the photos that at the end of the day that counts. But if you're not going to enjoy it, and if your clients are not going to enjoy it, I think they're not going to recommend you. So they're
Yeah.
not going to say to their friends, oh yeah, we had this amazing photographer who takes great photos, but also she was so great as well. So you've got to take that extra step. I mean, I'm not saying that every event or every shoot I go to, I have a connection with each
Yeah.
family. I
Of
don't.
course.
Sometimes, it just, but sometimes you have such a great ball. So, I think but I think having positive energy and having a good vibe, I think it really does help. So that's what I would say.
That's amazing. So with you mentioned that there might be a slight sense of competition. So when you go to events and when you do your photo shoots, do you tend to work independently? Do you work collaboratively in a team of other photographers? What does that look like for you?
So the only time like I've worked as a team is at weddings. So that's the time where you have obviously more people to shoot. So I have a person who I always use. She's my sister actually, and she's also equally a very good photographer. She's done arts and stuff, so she doesn't shoot photography professionally on her own, but she's assisted me in quite a few shoots. And she's very good because she's quite good with the aesthetics of something, and
Right.
visually she will know like, oh right, that needs to be moved, that needs to be this, and then she'll get different angles. So I work with her. I mean, I've obviously at weddings now, you do get videographers. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, so you just start, obviously you've got to work with them because I think you're both trying to fight the space, to
Yeah,
find that position. So I
exactly.
think if you can't work with them, then it just turns horrible, which you don't need to do. So
Yeah.
I think, I do take the effort of, speaking to the videographers. And likewise, they've always spoken to me as well. So I think it helps.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not part of a big team, but it
Right.
just helps to kind of, be civil with each other.
Yeah, of course. We gotta have that, because
Yeah.
especially, I mean, if you photograph events like weddings or birthday parties, I mean, people just want to have a good time. So it's definitely
Yeah.
important to just bring good vibes. And Mona, I just wanted to ask you, I mean, you've kind of already talked about this, but what kind of advice do you have for any aspiring photographers who may be watching your interview?
Um, I think just enjoy it, learn the skill, learn obviously practice, what inspires you. So for me, like I love connecting with people. So I started off, just taking photos of like my immediate family. Then I
Yeah.
sort of went on to offering free shoots for my friends. So that's how I started actually.
Yeah.
And then, just so find your, I don't want to say niche, but find your area of like interest.
Right.
So I very soon realized that product photography, the one with the white background, is not for me. I had this one client who, wanted me to take photos of her, like, accessories, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And after doing two sessions of it, I realized that, it just wasn't for me. I mean, she was happy with her photos, and I was happy with providing what I did. But, so find what you love, and then pursue that. So for me, I love photographing people, and I love teaching photography. So those are the two things that I love. So, and I've just kind of carried on with that. So that's probably what I would say to anyone who wants to get into photography. Find what you like, and then just go for it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
work on it, and attract like-minded people.
Yes, that is beautiful. I mean, do you think that when people do what they love, they'll actually do a better job at it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I over the years, like and seeing other work as well. So sometimes it can be daunting because, Instagram and Facebook and all these places, you're inundated by, all these amazing photographers, and then you're just like, oh goodness. Sometimes can be overwhelming, but also
Yeah.
sometimes I think, definitely it helps you kind of become a little bit more creative. So, you got to have it in you to start off, obviously, but then you start identifying things that works and that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah.
Well, thank you, Mona. Before we go, I just wanted to ask you if there wasn't anything that we covered today that you wanted to share with the audience about any future projects. I mean, you've mentioned your teaching, so if you want to elaborate on anything else that we didn't get to talk today.
I think more and more now people, they use their phones a lot. So I've had lots of interest with people asking me to run workshops on mobile phones. I
Oh,
actually did
wow.
do one for kids.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm going to sort of offer to either, well, definitely to adults, but also maybe even future, like, like businesses. So people like, self-employed people who just want to learn how to take good photos of their products to, social media, whatever they want to do. So I think that's something I'm probably going to pursue sort of in the autumn.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's something I've got lined up for this year. And then yeah, just continuing sort of taking more wedding photos because I'm loving it. I'm loving being around, lovey-dovey couple.
Oh, the
Um,
romance.
I love it, honestly. So I shot about 3 weddings this year, and just surrounded by young love. It's just reminds you of my young age, young days.
It's like
So I just
inspiring. Yeah.
yeah. So no,
Oh,
so that's really lovely. So so yeah, just finding that really, just rediscovering areas that you didn't think you were gonna go into. That's
that's
been
beautiful.
amazing. So I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, no, thank you so much, Mona, for your time today. I think it's so important again to celebrate photographers because I mean, taking photos, this is how we share our memories, this is how we connect and create beautiful experiences. So I really appreciate your time here today. Thank you, Mona. I believe it is your night
Pleasure.
time. So have a good night.
Yes. Thank you so much, and have a lovely
Sure.
day.
Thank you so much, Mona. Now, for everyone who is watching right now, I will have Mona's link tree in the description. So please check out the link to her adult classes. If you are in the UK, you can check out the information about her classes. So thank you, Mona, again. Bye-bye.
Bye.